Alright, sorry about that, guys. My battery died on me. But like I said previously, this is not going to be a video that gets premiered on Thursday in 2 weeks or Friday. It's going to premiere tonight. But I wanted to come on here, like I said, and just give you my thoughts, kind of follow up on something I talked about previously in audio video format, courtesy of OBS Studio. It's one of the programs I use for that. Well, it's not the program. But I wanted to talk about the fact that in that video, I mentioned that CM Punk is in my opinion, one of the main reasons that ticket sales, are not thriving for AEW Collision as much as they are in Chicago. You know, outside of Chicago and even outside of Forbidden Door, ticket sales in Toronto, Toronto, Ontario, Hamilton, Ontario, Calgary, the other places in Canada that are going to be, for Collision are not not up to snuff, like they should be. In other words, they're not, in that position that I'm sure Tony Khan, as I just adjust my seat here, that I'm sure Tony Khan would love them to be in. And I got to check my phone here, looking at something. Okay, just checking something, guys. But I'm sure Tony Khan would love them to be in, because he wants those ticket sales to be high up. But even Tony Khan acknowledged that it's going to be hard for them to even, sell out venues on Saturday nights. And that's the big issue right there. Outside of CM Punk being one of the main issues, the other main issue is the scheduling, Saturday nights. You see, in comparison, I get that you want to harken back to the days of WCW Saturday night. I get that. I understand that. I respect that. Very nostalgic move on your part. The problem is when WCW Saturday Night was on, it at first ran, I believe, for an hour, then expanded to 2 hours. And because of the time frame that it was on, 6:05 Eastern, 5:05 Central, 4:05 Mountain, 3:05 Pacific, because of the time frame that it was on, it gave, people plenty of time to watch the show and at the same time get themselves ready for whatever they're going to be doing afterwards. Like either going out, to the bar, going out karaokeing at said bar, going on a date, maybe having whoopee with that date, if you know what I mean, later on, or going out to a movie, late night movie, going to a late night family gathering or family gathering period in prime time, whatever the case may be, or just going out and enjoying a Saturday night on the town. You had plenty of time after Saturday night. However, here, the big issue is the schedule. And the schedule being, 7 Central. Let me ask you this. How many people nowadays are going to be at home on a Saturday night, watching wrestling? How many people? Not many that I can think of. And many of those people that would watch wrestling on a Saturday night or would want to watch that wrestling event on a Saturday night, they're either waiting for the replay on a streaming service like, let's say, Peacock, or they're going to DVR said event, or they're going to order said replay on pay-per-view or Fight TV and watch it when they get back. It is that kind of convenience to where, yeah, they'll still watch it, but they won't watch it exactly when you expect them to. And that's a fact. They will not watch it when you expect them to. And that's what's going to hurt AEW Collision. And even, like I said, even Tony Khan realizes that. Again, it's not just CM Punk and the reputation he created for himself over the past year. But it's also the fact of this. It's the scheduling. It is the day. It is the night and the day, that they have, that Warner Brothers Discovery is, having AEW put this show on. And, whether or not, like I said, whether or not Tony Khan agreed with it because it brings that nostalgic feel, that throwback feel to Saturday Night Wrestling, or it was Warner Brothers Discovery that said, hey, let's put wrestling on Saturday nights because, hey, our TNT and TBS used to have a history of that. Let's do that again. Let's harken back to that. Whether or not that was their decision or Tony Khan's decision or he went along with it, we may never know. But obviously, it's a decision that's going to blow up in their face. and a lot of people see that. Some even theorize, in my opinion, they may not have come out and said it, but I could already tell just by their tone in well, not in the attitude, but the tone in their voices when they talk about it. A lot of people probably feel that what's going on here is sabotage. That's what it is. Again, they're not going to straight out say it, and I'm not saying that's what it is, but just by the tone in their voices and everything, they know that something is not right here, and that something might be a little bit of sabotage. To them, it's like, does Warner Brothers Discovery really care about AEW and want wrestling on their program? Or are they just padding out, their resume by adding in wrestling, and in reality, they don't really care about it, and they hope maybe this will drive AEW off, the networks. We may never know, but we may never know, but maybe we will. I can't really say. But again, outside of that, that theory and speculation and conspiracy thought and all that not myself, but others I feel have, just by the tone and how they talk about this, situation. It's not just, that, but it's also, like I say, the scheduling. It is the day and night you have the show scheduled on. And, also it's the fact that you have it scheduled at a time where people are going to be watching other shows, or other sporting programs, and everything from WWE PLEs to Impact pay-per-views maybe, or even, watching college football at night, Yeah, and that's an issue too, because the Big Ten, one of the biggest college football conferences in the world or in the country, is going to get recognition on more than just 2 networks now, or 3 networks. They're going to get recognition on CBS now, and on NBC and Peacock, in addition to recognition on ABC, ESPN, and Fox. They're going to get more exposure, and that is on a Saturday night is not going to help something like Collision. We all know that. And when the NFL goes into preseason and then into the later portion of the regular season and the wild card, that's not going to help either. So Tony Khan needs to speak up eventually. When the renegotiating comes around with Warner Bros. Discovery to get a new deal and everything, unless they already have it, he's going to have to come around and say, look, I appreciate you giving us more, airtime and everything, but Saturday night it's not working. And on top of that, it's not just the scheduling either. Tony Khan also has to take the blame for the ticket prices. I mean, WWE, even during their live events do not charge as much as AEW does. AEW charges for a regular live house show event. They charge about $60 for the cheapest seats to $100 or $200 for front row. That is normally the price to go and attend a Monday Night Raw or a Friday Night SmackDown, not a live event. And I've been to many live events for WWE, and they don't cost that much. They don't. Unless you're adding it as a package deal, saying, hey, you pay this amount for such and such seats at the live event, and we'll take you behind the scenes and meet the wrestlers. Unless you're adding that to the package, that doesn't make sense, and that's also going to drive away a lot of your customers, or a lot of your possible customers that you would hope, I should say, would come and watch, Collision live and in person. I mean, that would explain why we're seeing a downtrend in the Dynamite attendance as well, whether people want to admit that or not. It's the ticket prices. You cannot charge, a certain amount of tickets, or a certain, not amount, but you cannot charge a certain, a certain price, if you will, for tickets for a regular live event house show, house rules event, as they call it, or even a Dynamite or a Dynamite Rampage Collision Ring of Honor taping. You can't charge these astronomical prices that should be reserved for your pay-per-views. Yes, it's justified if you charge, $60 to $80 for the nosebleed sections, and $100 to $200, for the front row for a Revolution, a Double or Nothing, a Full Gear, a Forbidden Door, an All Out, and All In. It's understandable if you do it for those events, but a regular weekly Dynamite Rampage showing, a live edition / taping, and the same with Collision, to charge it for those things or for those events, those shows, doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, and that basically will drive people away, because you have to realize we are in a situation where a lot of things, yes, they're going up in price, but not many people financially have the money, to go to these events. If you charge them a lot cheaper for, let's say, a live event for a house show, and then, like I said, a lot cheaper for a weekly Dynamite Rampage show and a weekly Collision Ring of Honor show, if you charge them like half of what you're charging right now, if not, not just half, but let's say 50% off of what you're charging right now, then that would be a different story. But because of the price range of these tickets being where they are, that, along with the scheduling of being on Saturday nights and everything at a certain time, and partially the CM Punk issue as well, these three things are playing a major factor in Collision right now, looking like, outside of its debut episode this Saturday in the United Center, looking like a major flop, and possibly proving the conspiracy theorists and speculators, correct, that perhaps this is nothing more than inner sabotage by Warner Bros. Discovery to drive AEW off their networks. Like, they'll come out and, like, to them, Warner Bros. Discovery say, "Oh yeah, we love wrestling. We want to have more of your programming on our show. Da, 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 da. Here you go. Here's an additional 2 hours." A lot of people will look at that and believe that that's just them, that's just them suckering and manipulating people like Tony Khan into believing they are supporting them, but in reality they don't, and they're going to do whatever they can to drive them away. And that might be what's going on here. We don't know. We honestly do not know. But when I look at the dismal ticket sales for Collision outside of the United Center, where it's going to debut this Saturday, again, I look at the CM Punk factor as playing a part. I look at the scheduling, the day Collision's going to be on, and I look at the prices. And you add all those factors together, and that is not a good mixture, a good formula, if you will, for success. That is basically, if you want the truth, that is a formula for failure. That is a formula for poison, to be injected into a company's vein that doesn't need to be injected into it. So if I'm Tony Khan, I need to talk with the people at Warner Bros. Discovery, get Collision on a Friday night, allow it to compete against SmackDown to prove it's a better show if it's being hyped up to be as such, or have it scheduled for a Thursday night and everything and compete against Impact to prove it's better than Impact, and there you go. There you go. At least you would have it on a decent night. But that's up to Tony Khan. Because right now, what it's making Tony Khan look like is someone that is not the real owner of his company, and that in reality, he secretly handed off ownership to Warner Bros. Discovery. That's what it's making it look like if he doesn't stand up for this company and for his talent and for the fans. That's what's going on here. That's what's going on here, and he needs to address this. Again, the CM Punk factor is understandable. That's not much you can really do about that outside of trying to get a meeting between Punk and the Elite. But the other factors, he needs to take care of that. He needs to talk to the WBD and get that addressed. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are on the whole situation, and I will talk to you all later.